Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm so tickled that you could come back. I'm so tickled that you could come back this evening. Hopefully it's working good. Mark spent about 2 hours working on this thing tonight, and he's not sure exactly what it was, but it was just crazy, So, hopefully you can hear me and you can see me. And I always feel funny saying that because I'm not sure it's that great of a thing to see me. But anyway, hello. It's working well. Oh, yay. Because we could not make it stop, the video to stop jumping today. Oh, good. Mark is boomerang, and he said, it's good. I tell you what, I'm going to say this. I couldn't do this show without him. There are just too many variables. And don't get me wrong, YouTube is an amazing thing, and it's given so many people a creative voice. And for that, I am so grateful. But because it's so huge, and because internet and the computers, it's almost like everything's grown faster than we really know how to master. So anyway, oh, Marcia, you're so sweet. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now, but I have not mailed Marcia's and Mary's bead roller. And I've got them in the bags. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I will not rest. You know that I was telling you about the summertime, what is it called? It's kind of a depression, slump, malaise that comes after such a hot summer when you feel trapped in the house. It has been a real problem for me this year. Even this morning, I stuck my head out and I was met with hot, moist air. And I thought, I do feel trapped. And I think that's why I've always been a person who loves fall, because it's finally nice enough to get back out. I happened to read a little article today that talked about that summers are getting longer in the whole country. And living in the South, I do know that for sure. But anyway, I try to pick myself up, get myself moving, but it's hard. And this week I had a much harder time being productive. Now the funniest thing was I was in the mood to make meals. So I made a supersized pot of chili. I made a supersized pot of beef stroganoff. And we have dinners put in the freezer. And I've got to still go, though, because we enjoy those. So we end up using them up pretty quickly. But at least I felt like doing something, because I was just having a hard time getting my act together. But I did get a few things done. And as you see, I ironed the reverse applique. And honestly, it's really cute. Hanging up back there, that's pretty darn cute. I finished binding that sunflower mosaic. We want to say hello to our Ukrainian friends, and I'm thinking of them very, very much. I'm thinking of us too, if you know what I mean. So, sometimes when things change too much, you wonder, have I lived too long? But do you remember when I purchased this hand embroidery kit from Temu? And I think it was less than $4, like $3.84 or something, let's say. And it ended up working up pretty cute. Now I'm going to hold it close to, I'm going to use my close-up camera. Mark gave me his best camera because I told him that I couldn't do close-ups, and the colors were getting washed out, and it was frustrating me. And so he gave me his very best. Whoops, not that one. There. Up, it's still, let me see if I can turn off. It did a better job. Earlier, I put this under it, and that looks really good. But it does wash it out a little. Probably because I have a lot of light on right now. But this kit worked up cuter than I thought it would. But let me show you how good this close-up camera is. Look at this. I mean, it focuses. And in fact, while I'm there, I'll show you. I am not an accomplished hand embroiderer. I only know certain things, and I haven't done that much of it. And but here it is. I had to go back over some things, try to make them a little smoother, and basically just doing mostly satin stitching. And but I got it done. It was something nice to be able to work on in the evenings, and just something a little new and exciting. So there it is. I've already signed and dated it. It's going to be a Christmas present for one of my kids. So there it is. But I would say if you see one of those kits, and you might want to try it. I was really pleased. And the hoop that came with it was actually a very good hoop. And you might see little fuzzy things on my hands. I was using glue earlier. But anyway, I did get this done. I'm thinking of framing it because I want to keep the hoop. I don't want to give it with the hoop. The hoop was interesting. It was a little hard to put the fabric in because it had a ridge, but it meant that the fabric never loosened up. So on the inside hoop, there was a little ridge in the center. So when you had the outside hoop on, it really held. So I was real pleased. Do you remember this little piece right here? This was what I worked on last week using hot glue gun and using a hot glue gun as a resist. And this was the only piece that really worked because this is the only piece that really worked because I actually did the hot glue every place you see it here. And I'm going to try some more of that. I've got some things coming to kind of help me do a better job. But like this is a great little stencil I made. So I've got some little spray bottles. I'll put it on the white fabric and I'll spray the dye on it, which should mean that way I can move it around and try it that way. But this came out the best. But you don't want to print fabric by using hot glue and making every single, I mean, it takes a while to make these little things. Everything has to connect so it's solid. So what I did is I took one of my inexpensive little journals. Remember I bought the marble notebooks for so cheap from Walmart in the back to school sale. And so it's college ruled, because I tell you what, if you don't get college ruled, there just aren't enough lines on the page. But what I did is I glued this to the front. Then I found a coordinating fabric from my stash, glued that on the back, and then I took some of my cardstock papers and put it on the back and on the inside of the front. So now you have the journal. Then I took this pink cord, glued it nice and sturdy back here, and then tied a button on. Now if I end up giving this to a quilter or selling this to a quilter, I will put some kind of little quilting charm on that button. But this is so that as you're writing in your journal, you can keep track of what page you're on. So there it is. Put a little piece of lace where for decoration and where the fabric joined, and then a little silk ribbon, and there we go. So it was fun to make, fun, quick and easy, and now I have another gift. So I like that. And I didn't want to waste art because art is so special. So, I've got so much to show you. All right. Now, things I didn't get to. I have my floor, the floor right by my chair it was a cheap laminate, so it tends to kind of crack off and then make a place that my chair doesn't want to move at. But I'm trying very hard not to get into a slump because, you know, we all, and I'm going to start making note on a calendar because I think the 2 months that I can sometimes feel a slump are August and February. And I want to see, because it might be, I just remembered the word, seasonal affective disorder. Might be what's bothering me so much. So hello. Oh, I see Hope and Cheryl and Lisa, Marcia. Oh, it's so good to see you. Mary made it. And I love seeing our Hopi. Laura, oh, how good to see you. That is wonderful. So welcome, and thank you to our wonderful Marcia, who's such a wonderful moderator, makes everyone feel welcome. So I finished my Snail's Trail alfresco, and I've got it sitting over here because now I'm in the long process of removing paper. But I'm going to tell you, I don't mind because I don't have to sit at a sewing machine. I can sit in my recliner and watch TV with Mark while I'm peeling off paper. But what I'm going to do tonight before we go is show you methods to remove the paper. So I'm going to do that because it's a big job when you have that big of a quilt and it's all paper pieced. All right, the reverse applique, like I showed you, whoops, sitting right there. I'm going to load that on the quilt frame this week, and I'm going to quilt it, and I'm going to go ahead and use polyester batting again like I did with the mosaic quilt. And one thing I'm going to try on the edges where I know I'm going to trim it, I'm going to try using a Primary Colors, the thread that changes color. I've got to apologize. This whole week I have not been able to fall asleep before 4 a.m. One morning it was 5. It was almost starting to get light. But variegated thread, there's the word. So I apologize. I'm just in this weird little rut, and I want to get my mojo and my energy back. I'm tired of this. I haven't gone to weigh, and maybe I'm a little worried. I'm trying to be good, but it's really hard. It's like 1 week my body participates in the whole diet thing really well. The next week it gets hungry, and that is a little tougher. But otherwise, doing really well. And so next week I'll let you know, because I'm definitely going to go get weighed this week. All right, let's see. So I am going to mail out the bead rollers because I've been terrible. All I can say is, I'm sorry. I have been in a slump this month. Okay, so I've got a few ideas for you so you can help me choose what we're going to do. And then I've got some new photos from Meltem for her vacation. And I've got some new photos from Cheryl. some quilts. She had another quilt in a big show. I tell you what, that woman's amazing. And I also want you to notice, it's really suspicious how young she looks. I think she's a year older than me, and she looks much younger. So I want to find what is the water she drinks. So anyway, okay, let's see. Okay, so I will tell you stuff. All I've got left to tell you is what pictures you're going to be seeing. I'll narrate them just a touch. But okay, so now I guess let's do a quick little talk about what project do we want to do. Normally, I know exactly what I'm going to do ahead of time. And I am just, yes, see, you're a year older than me. But you look in your 50s, girlfriend. I want to know what your secret is. Because let me tell you, I've earned every wrinkle, but all right. Oh, okay. So before I show you our ideas of what, help me figure out what project do we want to do next, I wanted to tell you what I've hit upon. I have hit upon the cutest gal on YouTube. Your husband's listening and he said, don't men taking the credit for your beauty. That is terrible. I don't blame him. Maybe that's why Mark looks so much younger than me, because he lives with me. I'm not sure that's going to wash with Mark. But anyway. Oh, Laura was 70 and Oh, that's wonderful, Laura. So, okay. So now, right before we go and talk about what do we want to do next, okay? Also, just a little thing to tell you. This whole tariff thing is a real pain in the behind. And today I read in the Washington Post how all these foreign countries are going to stop posting things to the United States. Because of the way the things have been changed, and they no longer have the $800 or less value getting exempt from different charges and tariffs. If you go to order a package from, let's say, England, you will have to pay at least $80 as a surplus. And I know this because the little gal, I first knew it because the little gal who I think does the polymer clay said she's not going to ship to the U.S. anymore, at least until something changes. And if you spend, it can run like between $80 and $160. And that's ridiculous. I'm hoping, and this takes place, it starts August 29th. I hope my latest Temu order gets here before then, because I'm really frustrated. But it's just, and it's not as if we have so many supplies here in the U.S. Shipments have been down 40-50%, and Mark went to the grocery store. They had no chicken at all. It's just we've been warned this was going to happen, and it has started, and it's only going to get worse. So, sorry about that. Ooh, yeah, we're just going to have to see if they'll even bother to ship. I mean, we are becoming a pariah out in the world, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. It's not their fault. It's our own government's fault. So, okay. Now, let me get back before sorry I made that little political comment, but in fact, I'm going to say something at the very end of this about why do I comment? Why do I feel so strongly about politics? So I'll talk about that at the end. Don't want to turn people off right away. And plus, I don't want to stand on the soapbox for that long. So, but anyway, so lately, I've been trying to figure out, we are next in San Francisco to receive troops. Oh my God, is that just the most ridiculous thing? And I said, well, I think the reason they're moving cities is because too many people were photographing the troops just standing there. I mean, come on. And you can only lie to people for so long, and then enough of the real reports get out, the truth gets out, and you see what? The government's big film thing was a government worker throwing a submarine sandwich. I mean, oh boy, that was crime that really frightened me. So, I better be good. I have better be good. So, okay, so I've been really cranking things out and getting things finished, which is kind of new for me, but I'm just kind of burnt out on quilts. And I thought, well, that feels weird. But I found, oh, isn't that the worst? Did you ever think the military would use guns on our own citizens, on us? There we go. But anyway, so I started watching little YouTube videos from Jessama, Jessama, and that stands for her sister, and her mother, and she found polymer clay at 12 years of age, and I think she started her YouTube channel a year later. It is amazing because you can tell by looking at her hands. She doesn't show her face, but looking at her hands, you can see she's a little one. So talented. Well, I have polymer clay that goes back 30 years, maybe? And I've tried it at different times, but I never really seemed to have enough luck with it to make it worth it. Her videos are so great that I can follow her. I can figure out. I can follow what she does. She's an excellent speaker, teacher, and artist. And I think if you were at all interested in polymer clay, you're going to like her. And let me bring up real quick, I want to give you the address to her site, and it's Jessama Tutorial, and her father thought of the name Jessama by putting their names together, and she is precious. Okay, let me come back to you, and I'm going to put the site. You used to make clay dolls. Yes. Let me tell you, another thing that really changed it for me is now they have UV resin. And so you can put a really nice, beautiful, nice mounding coat. Put it either outside for 15 minutes or get one of the little inexpensive LED UV lights, stick it under there. It's wonderful. No more mixing two parts. I never coated any polymer with resins. I would have to do 3 coats of some acrylic sealer. So, yes, you have, oh yes, exactly. I have, in fact, that was really good you mentioned that, Laura. I have an old toaster oven that I had kept in the camper that I will be using on my back deck, and that way I have to be very careful. I have asthma, and so I don't want to breathe any fumes in. But I tell you what, she is adorable, and she makes it so easy to do beautiful things. So I've been really enjoying that. And so Mark, I was talking to him about it, and I found Yes. Oh, that's a great idea. You just got new polymer clay. Wonderful. Yeah, there's so many things you can do with it. You can make little scissor fobs. Besides making jewelry, you can make things to go on key rings, whatever you want. And Mark said, well, what are you going to do with what you make? And I said, well, right now, I'm not worried about that. I just want to make. And sometimes just making it is good enough. So I'm so excited. Plus I have some retreats to go to. So I'm thinking, ooh, let me see what I can make. But I got really excited. I haven't touched my polymer clay in like 2 years or more. And I'll just tell you, I don't know if it's still on sale, but Hobby Lobby has, and normally I don't shop there for political things, for political reasons, but they had a polymer clay sale where you could get the Sculpey Primo for $2.15 a block. And so, whoa! And wearable art maybe. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. And so I'm really excited. It got me excited. Mark helped me put in an order for certain new colors because, you know, when you have clay that's 20, 30 years old, the colors are have changed a little. And yes, I can make my own color shades, but there are certain colors like turquoise. It's wonderful to have the real deal. So we put in an order to get a few new colors, things like translucent. Jessamine uses a lot of translucent, so I got a couple blocks of that. And I found out Kato clay has been discontinued. Now, I did notice on Fire Mountain Beads that they have a few colors of Kato clay left. But I used to love that. It was kind of hard on your hands, and now that my arthritis is worse. But I found some really good prices. I already have, you know, the pasta maker just for clay. And, oh, I did look at Walmart, and because the clay cutters at Hobby Lobby had a bad rating, the maker said somebody wrote and said, very dull, don't buy. So I went to Walmart. This had a very good rating and got this pack from Walmart for $5.40 or something. And now I will tell you though, Walmart doesn't have like the clay itself at a good price. Not that, well, you better look, but a lot of the things that go with the clay making, because I don't think Walmart sells them online from their own stock. Maybe they have them in the store. But this was a good deal, so I got that. Then, oh, I did get one other thing from Walmart. It's not going to be here for 2 weeks, so it'll give me time to go. Mark has asked me, he said, why don't we go through your clay and get it all cleaned up and organized and put in a special container so that it's real easy for you. And oh yes, I know that, Lisa. And you know, one lady heard me talking on my show about the quilt party, and she came to it last year. That was so much fun. But yes, Lisa just mentioned the Myrtle Beach quilt party, and people who have gone before always get the early notice on this coming January's. So I can't wait. But I had to make sure she had my new email address. I thought, oh no. But I wrote to her and I already heard back from her. And she sounds all excited about this coming year. And I know I am. And I know Lisa is. So, and Lisa, no more hurricanes and anything, because I want you rested. Poor Lisa. Do you remember last year? I mean, tree fell on her house, crashed in part of her roof. I mean, damaged structure. Then she was so ill by the time she got there. I don't know how she managed to get there. She was so ill. So be thinking about Lisa. She needs to have a good time. So, what was I thinking? What else? You know what? I think I might just take Lisa out for dinner at Myrtle Beach and just do something. I haven't been able to do anything else to help. So, but anyway, I'm all excited about the polymer clay. And I have been falling asleep at night watching Jessima make her creations. It is really relaxing. It's very, very, very nice. And she's adorable. She's from Australia and cute as a button. Is Debbie here? Oh, hi, Linda. Oh, no, it's Linda. Hi, Linda. How are you? Yes, normally I'm on at 3 p.m. Eastern time, but today we had problems. We still don't know what caused it. It might have been a YouTube thing. I don't know. But anyway, so that's going to be my new thing. And I'm still going to keep working on quilts, but I needed something new and different to get me excited again. I mean, if I've got to live in this hot humidity, which feels like a sauna outside all the time, then at least I need to find something to get my creativity going. And this is it. So I'm going to now show you some ideas that we can choose from to be our next project, because y'all always make really good choices, like the choice you did for the class this summer. It wasn't the one that I wanted to do, but when y'all chose it, it has now turned out to be an amazing quilt, and thank you for your votes. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show you the picture of one of the quilts. And it's made, this is an item, a picture of an item sold on this man's Etsy account. He's in Tennessee, and I love it so much just as it is. You know, normally I can get inspiration from something and then I make it my own. This is so perfect. I want to make it as close to what he's got. So I have sent him a note saying, could I please use this on my channel, and I'll give you the credit, and I will. I'm going to let you even know today what his site is. All right, let's see. I've got this over on my other monitor. Not that one, this one. Yes, this is so pretty. And what I was drawn to, there is space to use thread painting or hand embroidery. Fall is just around the corner. And then I loved how you can just take very nuanced fabric and place it in. And if he allows me to use this, then I'm going to where it really changes color. If it's just some where they've got lines and the colors are simple, isn't it pretty? This guy, I mean, this is gorgeous. What he does is he puts these images on ceramic tile, and it's supposed to look like stained glass. But I'm looking, of course, fall is wonderful, getting ready for that. But look at these beautiful colors. And for the most part, you can have long stretches of maybe a mottled fabric, or we can then paint or Inktense pencil the variations in this. Yes, he's in Tennessee. Those are the Smoky Mountains. Lisa, you are brilliant. That gal, let me tell you what, she is so smart. Her and Mark must have IQs through the roof. And it's from a maker in Tennessee. And this is a picture of the Smoky Mountains. Exactly. So that's not far away from me. Just go past Asheville and there you are at the Smoky Mountains. And then let me see if I can get a close-up here. Look at this. I love the way the tree's leaves look. This is what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning on taking these and making them 3 layers. Oh, you grew up in the foothills of Smokies. Yes, you do remember. And, but if you look, they're all like knobbly. And I thought, okay, take some of the right color, cut it out that shape, leave a seam allowance, sew some batting and backing, flip it right side out, then put it on your sewing machine, or maybe do it before you cut it out, and then do some little stippling, tiny little stippling to give it that bumpy whatever. You could do a bunch of circles, freehand circles, and then take and tack it onto the quilt. And you decide how much you tack down, because it'll be like a 3D look. So last year when we did our fall quilt, we did the crumb, what is that called? Confetti. We did the confetti. This year we're going to make pink, red, yellow, orange, light orange, yellow orange. You know, we're going to find these colors in our fabrics, and we're going to make these in different pieces and then tack them on to give whatever effect you want to. But I want to try to make it as close to this bright as I can. So I want to take time to look through. But look at this. Look at the blue. Look at the teal. Look at the turquoise. Then here is more of a periwinkle, blue-purple, and then a light periwinkle, then a sky blue, then a little white. Look how you can kind of tell that sun is right behind that orange cloud, that light yellow orange. I just think it's gorgeous. And of course, anytime I can use turquoise in a quilt for this top part, I'm a happy girl. So the last thing that will go on, we're going to have, these are going to be, the background is all going to be pieced. And if he'll let me do this, then I will make a pattern and everything will be numbered and all of that. But look down here. I mean, this is just terrific. And so I want to find nice, bright colors. And if he allows me, then I will show you what I have done. And I am drawing the pattern by hand because I wanted it a little bit bigger than I could get just by printing. Let me show you the close-up cam. All right, so I've already started. What I did is I put it on grayscale instead of color, and then I've come along with my Sharpie and I have drawn the different lines. Now, I'm going to make sure that when I do the final pattern, right here is I'm transferring it right here to this. This is only going to be, let me measure. This is going to be 16 inches by, actually it's not going to, well, maybe, by 16. So right now it's a 16 by 16 square. But I might take off here and have a 14 by 16. But I wanted something a little smaller. Something that won't take too long, and especially since mostly you're using larger pieces of fabric. So I would suggest that you look for batiks anywhere you can, or marbles, or models, because you can get a lot of mileage out of those. And then down in here, oh gosh, there's a wonderful place. I was thinking about our Hopi and how she does hand embroidery. There are some great things for hand embroidery down in here. But if you would rather get it done quickly, we can do it by sewing machine. And that's exciting. Hi, Miss Polly. So once again, I'm going to show you, I'm going to back the tree up again and show you. I am really hoping that Reed will allow us to use his design. So I will let you know, but I have written to him, and hopefully he'll let us, because I think that's gorgeous. All right, so now going back to the detail cam, let me show you the next idea. I saw some wonderful paper pieced roses, and I thought they were gorgeous. So I went on EQ8, and I made up a pattern for these. And you can, the best way to do it really is paper piece. And so, and then I would have an inspiration to kind of show you how to model the colors and moderate them. Lighter up here, a little darker down here, darker as you get to the center. But I do have this pattern already drawn up. Then I love, now this has been enlarged quite a bit. I saw this, I don't know who did it, it was in my Pinterest, and but it's the wonderful mosaic. And I don't know about y'all, but I loved my mosaic this time. So I'm thinking something simple like this might be perfect. And maybe I can do, you know, one pumpkin, maybe one pear, and maybe, I don't know, something down here. But I love looking at the fabrics. I love looking at how they made the shadows. And so these, then what you would do is you would cut your square in to make in a curve to show. So you'd have an orange square here and a dark red square there, and you would cut it just along so you have a really nice look. And you know, if you do these, I recommend, I used the Heat and Bond Light, worked much better. I was able to sew through it without much of a problem. But you also, I'm going to make sure if I do another one of these, go up and down both sides of all these little squares and back and forth, because they do want to curl up over time. But so those are the three things, and whatever we don't do now, we can do later on, even if it's next year. So we have a mosaic fruit, and we could do it fall colors if you'd like. And the squares are going to be back around maybe 3/4 of an inch. It's going to be smaller than this. Or we have the paper pieced flowers. Or we have the amazing Smoky Mountain fall. So what I want you to do, and it's going to be, yeah, I don't really want it to be square. So I think I'm going to maybe, yeah, something like 14 by 16. I think that looks pretty good. So if you want the number 1, it's going to be Smoky Mountain Fall. Number 2, if you want that one, it's going to be the Old Fashioned Roses paper piece. Number 3 is going to be Fall Mosaic Pumpkins and Fruit. And I'll make it relatively simple. I won't overcomplicate it. But look how they did this shadow in blue. So this is going to be a really good chance to show light and shadow. So 1, 2, or 3. Y'all tell me what you would like. Tell me what you would like to do. So, and one thing I'm going to do when I do the pattern is take some of my new pencils and color in so that I know exactly what color to put where. And I probably will just do enough just to show me, not do a beautiful job of it, because who wants to waste that much time? It's not a waste. But I'm always in a hurry. I got places to go, people to see. I don't know. So, my new pencils. Okay. So, all right. So those, we can do 1, 2, or 3, and you can let me know on here, or you can write something on the group's IO site, or whatever works for you. Okay. But that's where I'm going, and I hope one of those might tickle your fancy. So, and you know what I might do again this year? I'm thinking about doing some more paper mache pumpkins, because they were a lot of fun to make. Lot of fun. Alrighty, here we go. Now this shows. Yes, I did. Actually, Linda, I was showing them last week that when Walmart has their back to school sale, woo, I love it. I love it. So I got erasers and glue sticks and glue and folders and pencils and markers, because it's a great way for me to improve my stash. So, because I do deplete these things, and I got some better quality pencils and bunches of these white erasers. Let me tell you, if you ever draw patterns, you get the white erasers, because remember, red, blue, green, whatever erasers, they have dye in them and they will color your fabric. Also, these are Pentel erasers. Let me show you the packet. And they're half the price of what I get them on Amazon. But these are a high polymer eraser. And what that means, it really cleans good, no latex in them, high polymer, and they wear through faster, but they clean so much better. So these are Pentel, and right now they're $1.47 or 2 for $2.90 something. So good deal. And I bought several. Then what I love are these wonderful, I love the disappearing purple, because it lets you know right where you've put the glue. I use these for most of my paper piecing and applique work. I tell you what, I find they're just as good as the very expensive sewing quality glue sticks, and they're a lot cheaper. I got this pack of 2 for 50 cents. Can't beat that. Can't beat it. All right, now here we go. Okay, Linda, you're so sweet. 1, 3, or 2. Okay, and I'm gonna write this down because that'll help me know. 1 or 3, okay, and then somebody else said 1. Yeah, yep. All right, now what I wanted to tell you is, how do we get this paper off when we do paper piecing? Well, there's several ways, okay? One way is you can take a misting bottle and you can, let me find like a seam right here. You can mist that seam. You let it soften the paper just a bit, and then when you come in here, I think I would keep a paper towel handy and get up there. But look, you see how much easier it is to tear the paper. Now, I would only do this method if you're really worried about stressing the fabric. Because if you're, using silk, yeah, you might want to be a little more careful, but this is just good old cotton, and I'm not too worried. And what you do is just, now right here, if you notice, remember I took these blocks and I quilted right around the very outside edge. I'm looking for my scissors. Well, I'll use these. Okay, that'll work. But I did an outside basting stitch around the outside, so it made it a little easier when it came time to sew the blocks together. And it means you might have, you know, a little touch more trouble getting them out. But, okay, so that was the water method. It works pretty good, but to me, it means you're doing a lot more picking of the waterlogged paper off. So it's not my first choice. And yeah, doing that basting does mean. Now, one thing you could do, I'll show you. Nip the basting thread down here. And then you can pull this end, and then you can pull the basting out. Now this may be too much work, but pull the basting out and then that'll allow you. But otherwise, just pull. It's not a big deal. Alright, now let me give you another method, and I'll do it right here on this diamond sashing. The woman I saw that taught a class on paper piecing says she starts in the middle of a long seam like this. Starts in the middle, goes from side to side, because she said that way you're not stressing. She said if you start to pull this seam and you start on this end to pull, it can put more stress on the stitches. But do you notice what's happening? That's a really good thing here for me. Is remember when we started, we were using our paper piecing, and I said, fold it on the line, crease it with your fingernails, fold it the other way, crease it with your fingernails. Then I said, stitch it on a very fine stitch. Well, look what that leads to. That means by the time you do all that creasing and you sew it with a tiny stitch, look how easy this is. This is not stressing anything. And it's not stressing the fabric at all. It's not stressing my hands. So that's pretty good. So the three methods are, especially if you have a place where you're having a hard time getting the paper up, consider taking a little misting bottle and just lightly dampening, because see how it just comes up real easy once it's wet. Now, you could also dip a paintbrush in water and just run it right along the seam itself, but it really did not make underneath wet. I just did one of those real light things. Then you know you can start in the middle here and go out to each side, and that would even mean you can start in the middle here and pull it loose and come this way and then that way, just to help make it easy on the seams. But if this is copy paper, it's not special paper. I use whatever's cheap and handy, and so in this one, this is what's probably going to take a little more work, and you may want to even get in with a seam ripper to kind of loosen it, like right there. And usually once you get going, you're fine. It's just getting it to come up. And then remember to come back with an eraser, and usually an eraser will take all the little nubbins right out. But now this, with a basting stitch, you probably can get a good amount of pulling of the stitch out. Because remember, it's not sewn together down the middle, it's just along the very edge. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of play with it and pull it out. And now, if you have one of these wonderful Fons and Porter seam rippers, the handle is made and it's sticky rubber, so it's really good for getting paper off or getting excess threads, and you just brush it away. Alright, but if you have folded the paper and sewed with a small stitch, this is very, very simple. And the only thing is have a nice trash can right there. So all of this, because, you know, if I'm not careful, I'll put it on my chest thinking I'll get it later, and then you get up and forget and all the paper falls off. Then it looks like you've had a party. But but it's pretty simple. And honestly, you don't even have to watch it while you do it. You can watch what's on TV because you just feel your way to the next one. And let's say right here, just take your seam ripper, making sure you're gently under the edge, and then just pull it back. Whoops, let me get my fingernail. There we go. But this to me is kind of fun. And you can't do it until the top is all done, because see how I've got the edges already have the border on them? So once the paper piece block is fully surrounded by fabric, then you are free to yank that paper right off. And there's something very satisfying about it. And there you go. All right, so I'm hoping that this, if you've at all worried about getting paper piecing off, to me it's a lot of fun. And it reminds me of when I was a little girl and my dad would bring home his dry cleaning, and there would always be little paper stickers on it. They weren't sticky, they just were paper stickers, and I always wanted those. Oh, can I have them? Can I have them? And I would have so much fun cutting them out and pasting and gluing them, or just, I don't know. I've always loved little found gifts like that, you know. I was probably the kid who played more with the packaging than the actual toy. So, yeah, where I did that basting, it does slow you down a little bit, but you know, I'm going to be inside the house until the weather gets less humid, so I have time to do it. But anyway, so you saw how quickly this much came off. And usually if you just kind of do this a little bit, they will want to come loose really well. And do all the easy pieces first, like this, and then you can come back and be more finicky when you're in the mood. But I have to have this done before I put it on the quilt frame, and I'm so anxious to get this quilted. Now that I've figured out, well, I think I've figured, no, I haven't figured out totally how I'm going to quilt this. This is one of those quilts that I kind of have to put it on the frame and look at it. Most of the time when I quilt, I do not know how I'm going to quilt it until it's on the frame and I see it. And I do keep some idea books on the frame that I can look through to get different ideas. But usually once I see it on the frame, it just, I don't know, I just let it come to me. It's like, well, what would be good about this? And then sometimes I start quilting and don't get that far. So, all right, well, that's all I wanted to show you. And I'll make sure I get this in the trash can. And don't want to make any more of a mess. But I will be working on getting some things cleaned up and organized in this room, because I want to be able to be ready for my polymer clay. And I'll show you about some of that. But definitely remember Jessima. And she's absolutely adorable, very talented young lady. And so that's wonderful. All right, it is time. It is time for show and tell. Okay, is Joe So's here? Yay! I didn't know if we were going to be able to see her today. And I'll turn this over just one more time to remind you that, yes, this is the Snail's Trail Alfresco. A really, really lovely quilt that I'm so glad that we made. Let me go up a little higher. But isn't that pretty? Okay, you know who I was thinking about? Let me come back to the main camera. Yay. I was thinking about Grand today and thinking, I wonder what she's doing. And I bet you she's a busy girl. Last time she was on here, she was in college, and she was really, really getting good with her hand embroidery. Really good. So that's wonderful. Okay, how long does it take you to load that quilt onto your quilt frame? That's a wonderful question. You might not like the answer, but you know how I like to be super fast at everything. When it comes to loading the quilt, I'm super picky. So it can take me an hour and a half to load a quilt on the frame. And this is what, okay, let me just kind of tell you a little bit about, because this is such a good question. So the first thing I do is I get my backing and I put the backing on. I don't know why, I just like doing the backing first. I think mainly because if you're not careful, when you load the frame, the pretty side of the backing has to face down to the floor. So the ugly side is what's going to touch the batting and then touch the underneath of the quilt top. And I think I'm always, it's like, put it on first so I can get it upside down. I have to always make sure I have at least 6 or 8 inches on the left side of the frame so that I can pull it and clean in because the bobbin thread gets loaded on the front side, the front edge of the machine. It's not on the top like a domestic. It's on the front under the edge. So to be able to oil it, and you have to oil a long arm. Oil it, clean it, and put the bobbins in. I can put a bobbin in without seeing it just by touch, but it's nice if you do have a space you need to pull it over there anyway. And with a long arm, it's a good rule of thumb to clean the bobbin area with every bobbin change. That might be a little bit excessive, but I got such a good deal on this frame. I don't want to have to buy another one. And so I'm really good. I oil it for every day. Like if I go in and I work on it 2, 4 hours, whatever, 6 hours, then I oil it the next time before I start. And you just use a dot here. You've got the hook that you put the oil in, and then right above the arm that raises and lowers automatically, there's another oil space up there. And I keep a little, what are they called? It's a Shark little plug-in hand vacuum. I keep it right there so that I can vacuum in the machine real good. Then I think, oh, let me tell you, I cannot quilt on a domestic. I'm no good at it. And if you stop and think about it, there are some people who are amazing at it. But when you quilt on a domestic, it's like holding your pencil and moving the paper so you can write. That messes up my brain. My brain goes, whoa, no. We're too old for that. If you have a long arm, then the paper stands still and you write. That's the best way I can describe it. And for me and my little pea brain, it's the only way I can do it. And now if I'm just going to do a few stitch in the ditch, I can do that on a domestic. But freehand, And I quilt by freehand. I rarely use a ruler. I never use a panto. I just do it freehand. A pantograph is a printed thing that if you have a long arm that has mine is not fancy. So it supposedly has a laser pen or I forget. See, I don't do it. But I have a pantry rail on the top where I can lay out things and then follow it. But I just like doing freehand. Also, if you like doing freehand, keep a dry erase board right there on top of your machine, on top of the shelf. And before you sit down and start quilting, take your dry erase board and practice the shapes you're going to make. And because there's such a thing as muscle memory, and it works really well. But if you haven't quilted in a week, take time and just draw those little shapes. Do your nice loops and things, and get your muscles talking to your brain again. So, oh yeah, and I was real lucky. You can buy some used setups because people move to the next bigger one. Mine is 16 inch arm, so it's not that big, but boy, it makes it easy. The main thing is you don't have to pre-base the quilt. You put one piece on a time. So I load the backing pointing down, get it fully loaded, and I make sure that I use the tack gun with the plastic tacks. That's the way I learned, and I love it. I'm not real good with big long florist pins because they stick me. And some people sew on a zippered thing that they can zipper on and off if they want to do different quilts at different times. Then I take my batting, and I don't put that till last, but that's what goes in the middle. But I don't put my batting on a roll, even though there is a roller for it. I let my batting float. I find it's so much better for me than having one more layer, and a stretchy one at that you would have to try to keep square. And so I float the batting. I load my quilt top, and making sure that on each end of your backing and your quilt top, I put extra tacks. If you pin, put extra pins for the first 4 inches. The 4 inches on either side of a quilt get the most stress from tightening, rolling it and tightening it and all that. So I put extra tacks in, and it makes such a difference. And there are times that I'll go along the side and just tack as I'm going down to make sure I keep it smooth and square. Okay, because that to me is really important. And sometimes if you don't have it tacked down, or either have a clip that pulls it out sideways, you will go and you'll make a loop and the fabric will want to buckle over on you. That is awful. I hate taking stitches out. And a lot of times if I make a mistake, or I get a little, what do you call it when you get a little fold that you don't want there, I keep a thing of safety pins right above my frame. And if I find a mistake where I just didn't like the shape of it, or I skipped a stitch, or got a pucker, that's what word I was thinking, then what I'll do often is redo the stitch the right way. A lot of times not even taking out the wrong stitching. An artist friend told me, he gave me great advice, and he said, never erase a bad line before you've drawn in the good line. Because he said, if you do, and this is so true, he said, if you erase the bad line first, you'll draw the same line over again. And that is so true, and it's also true with quilting. But a lot of times, instead of sitting there hunched over this machine, taking stitches out, I'll put a safety pin there. Once I've done the correct stitches, I'll put a safety pin, and then I go when it's off the frame, I sit in the living room in my recliner and take out the unwanted stitches. How nice is that? So I get the bottom loaded, I get the top loaded, it's nice and square, looking good, Then I lift up, I have the top bar can lift up a little, and then I go and I spread the batting out. Now, once I get the batting along, the beginning part of the roller, then a lot of times I'll put a couple tacks just to make sure it doesn't play games and shift on me. And then I lay it back down. The one thing you don't want to do, try to remember this, is don't make your batting taut. You don't want to bounce quarters off of it. In fact, you want it smooth and flat, but not tight. And make sure you can take your fist and you can depress it about 1 inch or 2. That's really important. If it's too taut, you're going to have skip stitches, missed stitches, broken threads, all of that. So it's got to be able to ride on the bed of the machine, just like any regular sewing. Otherwise, it'd be like trying to sew where you've got it 1 inch off the bed of the machine. It doesn't like it. And then sometimes now lately, I'll kind of go around the edges, and with a basting stitch, just makes it easier to trim up. So hopefully does this though, but I wanted to be able to give you some idea. Now, I have both polyester batting and cotton batting. The reason is the polyester can create a higher loft, a nice fluffy light quilt. For my art quilts, I almost always use polyester. For bed quilts or comfort quilts or old-fashioned quilts, I use cotton. Remember that cotton shrinks, and so you will get that soft, comfy look to a cotton quilt that you don't get with polyester. But cotton quilts are heavier, and they're not necessarily warmer. You would think they are, but that polyester holds a lot of air in, and the air is what makes a quilt warm. All right, I think I just gave y'all a lecture on frame quilting, and you didn't even ask for one. So hopefully, and please let me know anytime. I set my stitch length on 16. It just depends on what you're comfortable with. And never use a heavier weight bobbin thread. I find it quilts better if I use a lighter weight bobbin. And then buy the kind of top thread that your machine likes. For me, Glide has been a really good one. You would think you'd use cotton, but cotton to me sheds too much lint and tends to break. But the Glide, the polyester, is tough and it has a nice sheen on it. So it's better, and it's not as expensive as some. You can get a big roll for $11, $12, and that's important. All right, I think that's about it. I have at times put the binding on while it's on the frame. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's hard on my back, because you're trying to carefully hold it and go around. So I just put the binding on my domestic and then fold it over and do it by hand. Another thing that I love. All right, so now we are going to do show and tell, and then we'll say good night. Let me see. We've got some new pictures. I'm so excited. All right, let me shut this down. And, whoops, I better open the folder. Hold on, you're looking at a nice blue screen. Okay, here's since we're right here, I'll do my couple little pictures. My daughter sent me this, and she said, "Look, Mom." Let me come back to y'all to make sure. Yeah, I want to make sure y'all are there. She said, "Look, Mom, look at my big fat shrimp." And what if you're not gardeners, you might not know that this is called a shrimp plant. And that's the common name because it looks like a shrimp, especially in the orange variety. But boy, my daughter is the best gardener in the world. I mean, she has surpassed me. So I couldn't be more proud. Now let me see. So she sent me that. This is my granddaughter, Charlie, who has now was accepted into the cosmetology program at the local college, and has started her classes. She's got her own setup station, and she's loving it. She is, and I mean, she's in heaven. And between this and working, that's they hardly see her anymore. She's a happy, happy girl. All right, real proud of her. And then I just wanted to show you, sometimes people ask, well, where did you get the idea for this quilt? And I will be watching TV, and if a beautiful scene pops up, I'll say, oh, I want to take a picture of that. And so we'll back it up and try to get it just right, and then I'll take a snapshot of it and keep it in my files. And for this, it's a little faded out because it was from the TV, but I love the dark islands rising up, and then this beautiful, beautiful sky. So I think this was on Below Deck, and I just had to have that picture. So I think that's all that I wanted to show you in my show and tell. And okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to show you. Now let me put this over here. All right, so let me go back to show and tell. Let me bring this window open. All right, let me see. Miss Bonnie did such a great job with the 3 orphan blocks that I sent her. And all I sent her was these little blue and light blue. And look what she's made them into. Love them, love them. Here's another one. I think this one's going to be the candle mug. Candle holder, candle mat, pardon me. And the others are mug rugs. So way to go, Miss Bonnie. All right. Now, let's see who is next. Debbie. And I just love, now that she's back from her cruise, I hope, I can't wait to see the rest of her Snail's Trail progress. I think it's gorgeous. And I love this amethyst color. That is so pretty. All right, now let's see who is next. Let me go back to, oops. Let me go back to here. Come on. Okay. Now, Hopi. She sent some great things. All right. Here is Hopi's progress on her mosaic. And she did a great job by making a Golden Threads paper copy of it so that she always knows where she is right here. You can even take and lay those over top if you get a little confused about where things go. I love the colors of parts of her leaves. It really makes her leaves stand out. So great job. I can't wait to see her progress. Then here is her wonderful Northern Lights quilt with the dog sled team. Because she's way up in let me see. I wanted to say Lapland or Labrador. I mean, she's way up there. And this is her beautiful hand embroidered landscape of a lake near her. Beautiful. Here is her first block of Snail's Trail alfresco. Her colors are just dynamite. Wonderful. Here is the photo of the lake that she then did the wonderful landscape from. She did an outstanding job. Here is, I'm thinking it's Ralph's quilt, and full of wonderful things that you do up north during those long winters. And I just love it. I love it. And I guess this tent is when you go out ice fishing, I would assume. And a cute quilt. So cute. And I love this one. So, Wonderful, wonderful Miss Hopi. Now let's see who is next. Jo sews her wonderful, wonderful hats. I love these. And I thought she made 4 of them, but what she did is she made 2 that are reversible. So it's like making 4, and for the number of looks you can get, and that's terrific. Way to go, Miss Jo. All right, now, who is next? Miss Mary has been so busy. You know that she did her wonderful mosaic quilt. And look at the cutie pie blackbirds she put. And she didn't even bake them into a pie. She let them just sit on the quilt, which was awfully nice of her. And let's see. Oh, bye, Laura. It was so nice to see you later, hon. Aw, wonderful job, sweetie. So good seeing you again. And this was her second doll that she did. This is her Snail's Trail al fresco. This is her wonderful birdies on a wire. I love the polka dots. And then she did a reverse applique, but she did it in normal applique fashion, which was a good choice. That reverse applique was hard. So I love her vase, more little birdies, enjoying her beautiful splash bouquet. I love that. I love how she always puts her own touch on everything we do. It makes it so much more exciting for me. And let me see, Marcia Hahn, she did wonderful. Oh, wanted to tell you, she saves her husband's lunch meat containers and uses for different project pieces. It's wonderful and they're free, so it's a good idea. And then here is her 3D flower garden quilt. I love the little bird's nest and eggs. So thank you, Miss Marcia Hahn. Okay, now let me see. Then, Meltem. All right, Meltem recently went on a holiday with her siblings, and it was great. I'm so tickled for her. So they went out and just had a wonderful time, and I love that she sent these photos. I saw this bridge and I say, oh, tell me that you didn't go on the bridge. And then I was looking, because that's a long way over the river down there. Then I saw this and went, okay, I don't speak Turkish, but I know what that sign says. And it says, do not cross. Do not step on this bridge or you could die. So I know that's what that sign says. And even if it didn't, I would make it say that, because I'm not going to cross those suspension bridges. Okay, here is a trail that they walked on. I love the cobblestones. So this must be near a port city, because they always had bunches of cobblestones. That's why you have cobblestone streets in a port city. Cobblestones, you probably already know this, but they were ballast. So if the ship doesn't have an even load, they offset it with cobblestones. Or if they don't have any load, they have to put the ballast in so the ship doesn't tip over. And so with all of these cobbles, they pay extra cobbles, they paved streets with them. And they were in the Vala Canyon and heart of the national park. It sounds wonderful, and I'm so glad they were able to get away. And oh wow, so it requires permission to go there and to participate so that you have safety explained to you. So that's wonderful. I'm so tickled for her. What a lovely gal. Oh, here she is standing way up. Oh, my goodness gracious. Very brave. Very, very brave. Okay. All right. I'm thinking, nope. Wait a minute. Here we go. Don't want to miss anything. And that's the canyon name. 970 meters. And I don't know if that's deep and 8,800 meters long. But boy, that is really something. Wonderful. And then here is beautiful hiking. Look at that. Just beautiful. I'm so happy. Oh, it is reverse applique, Mary. Wow. I'm so happy and feel so fortunate that Meltem takes the time to send these photos and videos to us. And I'm not going to show it on here, but I saw a little photo of Miss Meltem, and she's beautiful. She has the traditional conservative muslin clothing and Muslim clothing, and she's just lovely. So isn't this nice? Thank you, Miss Meltem. How nice. It's like we can tour parts of Turkey and stay right here in our own pajamas. Okay, Miss Polly sent me. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's right. I love these 9-patch shadows. Isn't that neat? I love things that give you three-dimensional looks. So, oh, that's beautiful, Polly. Beautiful. Okay, I'm so glad Miss Polly is working and moving through. Okay, now here we go. Miss Cheryl. I had shown this quilt before, but didn't understand. I must not have read her description of it. What this is, I think she stays young by doing so much traveling, but their quilts were in the AQS Ultimate Guild Challenge this past week. The theme was International Flair. Her quilt is from a photo she took of the gate at the Opera House in Barcelona. I hand cut the gate part and cut the gray at the top with my scan and cut. That gray at the top is gorgeous too. All of them, just beautiful. And then, so that's this quilt, and it made its way into the quilt show, which is wonderful. Okay, you know her beautiful animal collages. This is her snails. Look at her snails trail al fresco. She's got it all put together except her outer rim of diamond sashing. So that should be beautiful. I love how the centers of all of her square sashing blocks are the same yellow. Really nice touch. Here she is with her quilt on display. And now you see what I mean. I'm sorry, but I don't know how she's older than me. She looks too young. It's great. She looks wonderful. I think she's a very happy soul, and it shows. Okay, this is her friend's quilt. Now let me read this to you. The second photo is her friend's quilt. She's from Egypt, and that was her inspiration. She cut all the objects with her scan and cut and created and cut the stencils for the background on the scan and cut. It's truly beautiful in person. Well, it must be, because it's absolutely beautiful right here. And I'm going to go in closely to show you. Look at this. Look at her work. Isn't that amazing? In fact, you know what? That looks like reverse applique almost. But isn't this just beautiful? And her quilting, look, oh, I just love it. I love the chain. I wonder how she put the chain on. Maybe she did some painting? I'm not sure. But if you look in the background, behind the shapes, look at all of That was done from stencils she designed and cut on her Scan and Cut. But isn't that beautiful? That is just, and it says Egyptian lanterns. I just love that. So, way to go, and congratulations. Let me tell you what, our Cheryl has been in numerous quilt shows. So, what a talented, talented lady. All right, I'm thinking, let me see. Yep, let me go back to show and tell. I'm thinking, show you one more time my cute little grandsons. There's Donnie in the foreground and his brother Russell behind him. They're so cute. I just love those boys. Okay. All right. So let me come back to y'all. And I think we have covered everything. I keep thinking also about making covered fabric bowls. Because the ones that was it Marsha Hun made are gorgeous. All right, so if you, just tell you real quick, because I'm gonna let y'all go. It's getting late. I'm really torn about saying much about politics right now, because part of me is just trying to keep myself from crawling in a hole and burying myself, because things, in my opinion, are so bad right now. And we're going to be living in martial law in our own country, and an oligarchy, and I mean, things are already here. It's not things I'm worried about, they're already here. And so I'm torn because part of me can't deal with it. I feel things so deeply, and my politics is something that's always been intensely important to me, and my country that I try to love, but it's hard right now. And yeah, I know, Miss Jo, it's just, I don't watch news anymore. If I need to read it, I'll read, but I just can't afford to let myself spend too much time on it. I've always volunteered at elections. I mean, just about always. And I feel strongly about it, and I don't know what to do. And so sometimes I just feel like I have to say something. I think of the poem that went something like, I'm paraphrasing, that when they came after the Mexicans, I didn't do anything because I wasn't Mexican. When they came after the rest of the immigrants, I didn't do anything because I'm not an immigrant, at least not in my lifetime. And so then when they come for me, there's not going to be anyone left to help me. And that to me is a very important political statement. I don't want to look the other way totally, but I'm not sure what I can do yet. But I know that when we find out what we can do, I'm going to be there. And so I'm sorry sometimes I bring politics up, but it scares me. It scares me. And when I see people who have done nothing wrong be raided, when I see people who get picked up off the street for no reason and you don't hear from them or see them again, that's the crap we used to hear about from dictatorships. Not our country. We have a constitution. And the constitution is being trampled, and that scares me. So I hope you understand that I'm trying to be positive. It is scary. It's something I never expected. I was raised by a narcissist. Then I first married a narcissist. And so I'm heavily triggered when it comes to the things that are going on right now. And I know that there are no boundaries with a narcissist. There's no low point. There's no bottom. So It's, please forgive me if your feelings are opposite. I don't mean to insult you. I just sometimes feel like I have to speak up. If I don't speak up now, then nobody else should speak up for me. You know what I mean? So don't, I do my best, and I suffer from depression, so I have to be careful. But I still care, and I love our country and our life. I just don't love the way it's being governed right now. I mean, to me, it's very bad. So, and I just don't want to hide my head because I'm scared how much worse it could get if we all, I have no answers. I can't tell anybody else what to do. I'm at the point where it's tough. It's tough. So I don't want to drag y'all down. I don't want to make anybody else more upset. A lot of people are probably feeling exactly like I'm feeling, at least by the poll numbers. So we're going to gather together. We're going to do what we have to do to keep our creativity up, because this is the only life we get. If we spend all of the rest of our years gnashing our teeth, biting our fingernails, then we'll have wasted the only life we get on this earth. So for that reason, I'm trying to be careful, because I care about all of you and I want you to have the best life you can have. And I'll keep bringing some creativity in because it helps. It helps. I keep my hands busy and my mind listening to audiobooks, and just hoping that there are people who are smart enough to tell me what I can do and when I can do it. Otherwise, I want to, for my children, for my husband, for my pups, for y'all, I want to live the best life that I can and help somehow in that way. I guess, hopefully it didn't sound too awkward, but I was just trying to let you know. Take good care of yourself. Do something special for you. There was a rally in Omaha today. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. That's wonderful. I also, I'm going to keep looking for fun things to do and do the same for you. This polymer clay is going to be just what I need to get my creative excitement back. And so find whatever it is for you and pull it out and work on it. Be gentle to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And be kind to everyone out there, no matter what color their skin is, no matter their accent, because we're all very special people who are meant to be here. So take good care of yourself. I'll see you next week. And I love you bunches. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great week, okay? I'll see you next week.